Welcome to my daily review. Today is Monday, July 28th, and you're looking at a daily chart of the Nasdaq, which just continues to grind higher. It doesn't look like it wants to do anything else, but just inch higher day by day, step by step, inch by inch. And it was up 70 points today, or 0.33%. And it closed at a, all-time high of 21,178. So when the indexes are making new highs, it's a bullish sign, and they usually continue to make new highs until they don't. So as William O'Neill said, we just observe the market, just like you want to learn about fish. You observe a fish tank. You want to learn about the market. You observe the market. So that's what I do in the afternoons here. I just give a daily update of what I saw observing the market today. I'm not making any predictions or anything like that or giving out any trades, but just observing what we are seeing in the market. And obviously, like I said, with the Nasdaq trading at new highs, are 6.2% above the 50, and it's just comfortably trading 6% or more above that 50, which is this red line here. We're just stacked here with the 10, the 21, and the 50. We had that golden cross where it went above, back in what, June. So it's been, a month now since we've, had this 50 above the 200 and heading in the right direction. So what did we observe today? Well, I got to point out here that the Nasdaq right here shows that the volume is 12% above the average daily volume, the 50-day average, this red line here down here. But it's very deceptive. Is there's been some really small stocks like Open that are, and this is what's causing the volume increases here. This thing's been going berserk here with, how many hundreds of millions of shares traded daily. Today it was only 220. But come on, this is a lot for, these small priced or lower priced stocks are getting a ton of volume. So this is driving the Nasdaq's volume up. This is LIDR, LIDR. AI, I guess you could call it. But anyway, this massive volume coming in these things, 155 million. And this is kind of skewing the data here. And this is why we can't rely on volume. This is VAPE. And, they had news. Okay. So today it was had, 26, thousand, 2,600% above average daily volume. Yeah. 14 million. So this is kind of what's skewing the data here. Just want to point this out here. This company also had CELC. They had a the positive news here. So that was up 13,000%, so that just pointing out here, this volume on the Nasdaq is a little skewed. Those four trade on the Nasdaq, driving the volume up because, underneath the surface, it was a really quiet day. A lot of the leaders are just kind of plodding along. We're going to hear from Jerome Powell later this week on interest rates. I doubt if they move anything, but if he hints at rate cuts in September, this market's going to rally even harder because the multiples are going to expand. And I think that's what's going to really be a catalyst for the, longer term rally here to the end of 2025. And let me see what else. Oh, a couple of earnings reports we have this week. I'll get to that later. And then the jobs report is Friday. So a lot of new data points. So there's reason for caution. And we saw that today, besides all that other nonsense with those lower price stocks. NVIDIA, there was news out of Europe deal and Taiwan, not Taiwan, sorry, Samsung deal with Tesla. And China suspending the tariffs for another 90 days. And so this is a tell right here for your semiconductor plays. If NVIDIA is going to be going up like this, nearly 2%, and AMD, they raised prices today. They had news. This thing's going straight up. Personally, I like AMD better than NVIDIA at this point, because of the market, the size of them. I think AMD with a market cap of 280 billion could get to what? Uh, I don't know, 560 billion quicker than, NVIDIA can go to 8 trillion. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Yeah, and a great day for AMD, a great day for NVIDIA, and of course Broadcom. You got to throw them in there. There's another strong, large cap semiconductor play. Taiwan Semiconductor, another name. Just inside day today, pulling back. I have it on the 10 today. the 10 EMA, that green line here, but I might switch it up here. Also, SMCI. Another one benefiting, from the news today, got closed above 60. Good Lord. Okay. 60.57 after hours. So those 60 calls are paying. You're in the money now. And then ALAB. This is one that I was going to put on my radar list. I didn't. Held off in a way today, being kind of cautious, but it had a nice day up 1.5% with the rest of the semiconductor space. All right. I'm going to move on. I'm going to try to get through these videos a little quicker here these days. Just observing here. This is finance credit card payment stock TOST making new highs today. I did not put that on the radar list. I think I had it last week or maybe the week before. I forget. I had this one on for sure, and it's just going flat. I'm wondering how long this is going to go flat for. They're going to report earnings next week. So, just watching and waiting. These things are going to make you be patient, right? Dave undercut the 50, now trying to rally back through. Definitely one that I'm watching. They have earnings next week as well. And then Sezzle, whenever I mention Dave, I got to mention Sezzle. This one traded down to its 50 for the first time since the breakout, found support and bounced. Just an inside day today, bouncing off its 10. So that one looks good. A couple others that I got to mention in the software cybersecurity name. This is Zscaler, just pointing out here it undercut the 50. Now it's trying to rally back through here. Rubrik is my go-to in this space, and I've been telling you, a lot of people ask me about this. It's ready to go. It's ready to go. No, it's not. This is going to take some time. People are getting excited because it was up 2.5% today, but it's still below the 50. It still needs some time, and you got to look at the weekly charts and not just get too over anxious here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is 9 weeks. So yeah, it's getting there. It's getting closer, and you expect to see it build the right side of the base here and rally through that 50. Maybe it'll give us a buy point here as it trades above a downtrend line somewhere, maybe above that 50 there. 92.899 would be maybe a buy point there around 93 as it rallies back through. I'm very confident that they don't have earnings for a while, but this one's going to be a strong stock. And it's in demand. CrowdStrike looks a lot like a Zscaler here below the 50 here, trying to rally back through. And that's what was once support, which we thought was support, is now providing a little bit of resistance there. It closed a tick below the 50 today. So definitely watching those, and they look fine. They're just forming a base, and stocks are going to form bases from time to time. All right, just observing some leading tech stocks. Credo Tech had that, it went up above 100, then sold off below the 21, and then now has rallied sharply back through there. 6.5% move today, which is very nice, up after hours. And I think I know why. But yeah, nice bounce off the 21, and it closed today 8.2% above the 10. So very nice. So now with leading stocks, I'm going to switch this back to the 5, because if your stock, is a strong stock, it's probably, getting support at the 5, like a lot of those energy stocks and leading tech stocks are. And if they slice the 21, convincingly, they're usually going to the 50 or even below the 50, kind of like Netflix. I'm getting ahead of myself here, but yeah, when you see that, it sliced to 21 and went down to the 50, it sliced to 50, and it's just, forming a base. But we don't want to sit through that. As a swing trader, there's too many other opportunities to be sitting through that. So we don't do that. All right. Another one that's showing strength. I just stayed across the street from these guys the other day, and I thought it was an omen because every time I went to the coffee shop in the morning, I drove right past that. And I go, that's the way my brain thinks anyway. Maybe I should buy some light. And now this thing ran up hard, and it formed a little wedge pattern here, or flag pattern, if you will, and now busted nice today, up 2.5%. You can see this on the weekly there. The 104 would be the buy point on that standard. Very nice move here off the liberation lows here. This thing is showing complete and utter strength. Up 108 after hours. Thank you very much. So LITE is very strong. PEGA. This is a software, financial software name that I had on the Reddit list a while ago, and then I kind of forgot about it. And then last week we were discussing it, and I guess it had this big move, and wow, made a new high today. So that's what happens when you forget stuff. It happens when you get older. Cloudflare, Net. I like this one. I don't think I put this one on my ready list. I have it on my watch list. I like it above 198, and especially I think above 200. If it can clear 200, I think it's go time. But earnings on Wednesday or Thursday, yeah. So, hard to buy a stock ahead of earnings unless it's, well, I'll get there in a minute. All right. I'm going to move on here because I want to, like I said, I want to get through these. I've got to observe the strength in the retail names, kind of surprising me because, retail has, well, the consumer's strong, I'll say that. But retail, with the tariffs and everything kind of sold off. This is YETI. They have a new tote line, and I guess it's pretty popular. It ran up off the lows. Somebody asked me to look at this, so I am, and I think this is a very nice looking cup shape pattern. You could say above that downtrend line, it broke above that. That 3308 area would be an area to buy here, and it just rallied up through. And now it's trading above its five, and just an inside day today. That looks really nice here, allowing that five to catch up. On Friday, it closed 3.4% above the five. Now today it's 1.9. So that looks good there. If I take a look at the weekly, yeah, you can see that's a nice base here on Yeti. So thank you for pointing that out. I forget who asked me about that. But yeah, that looks good. I got to go to Golf, which is, I think, Titleist and a couple other brands here. But this one's making new highs, pulling back to the five today. I don't know if it's getting a boost from that Happy Gilmore movie or what. A lot of people like the Happy Gilmore movie. I thought it might help Netflix, but Netflix not getting any love. A couple of other, just some retail names quickly, just making observations here. This is Boot Barn, making new highs. You can't argue with stocks making new highs. That institutions are buying them. This is not the one that I wanted to show you. Ollie's Bargain Outlet, making new highs up more than 4% today. So somebody likes the retail names, institutions, not Aunt Sally. And I'm just pointing that out. I'm not saying run out and buy all these retail stocks, but this is the dentist. This is one that's, had this 510 and traded above it, made a new high today, man. I got to see what this looks like on the weekly. I know people don't want to buy this stuff, but and another one is the Coach Kate Spade brand. Let me see here. Cup with handle breakout, just surfing that five like Kelly Slater. Very nice. But nobody talks about this. Nobody wants to buy this apparel. And I thought it was going to have a trouble with 100 and pull back, but it wants higher prices. And you're not going to argue with that. They don't report until August 14th. More observations of, this is another one that I was going to put on my ready list and didn't. I have it written down right here. So I'll probably put it on tomorrow because I like this long, flat consolidation here after it broke out. And then it's just been trading within this box, right? Tight little box here, tight little range. Earnings aren't until August 19th. And this is Air Sports, kind of a play on China outdoor leisure activity. And that's a nice consolidation, or you could call that a nice flag, a long flag though. And yeah, I'm gonna put that one on. I like that one. What else do we have in the I showed you the dentist. What else do I have? Oh, TPR. All right. Oh, I know what I was gonna do. A couple of oil and gas stocks making noises. An oil and gas equipment name, DXPE, making new highs, looking really nice. And then oil and gas integrated stock, IMO, Imperial Oil, just surfing the five and making new highs. So just pointing that out as well, trying to keep my eyes and ears open. This is LNG still consolidating within a base, rejected at the 50 today, but just, trying to keep an open mind here. I was going to put some gold on, but WPM pulling back, AU, which is my favorite in the group, pulling back this little wedge pattern. So I'm eyeballing those. So they were down today. Gold, the commodities were down today. The gold, copper, and silver, I should say. All right. Since I'm mentioning that, I got to get to the materials. MP Materials, this is one that I do own. I bought it last week, I believe. Up a couple of bucks today, 3%. And this thing's just, you look at it. made this, I guess I'll go to the weekly because it's got this flag pattern and now, it had this pole and now it's flagging, volume drying up in the flag here. Whoop. So I think this thing's going to really pop. And I still think this is viable below the 65.09 here. So maybe I'll put that one on as well. UU, uranium play making a new high today as well. And then one that I haven't talked about ever, but Ivanhoe looked like it was going to run hard today, then pulled back. I got to look at this on a 5 minute chart. Yeah, this thing opened hot. They've got some well, it's not going to be delivering for a while, but they've got a mine here in east of Casa Grande or west of Casa Grande. It's west of I-10 and north of I-8 over here. And it's a copper mine, and it's supposed to be delivering a ton of copper with copper prices going up. This could be one to watch. You can see it's kind of been in a stage one base here trying to emerge. So it's definitely one that I am watching for a copper play. All right. All right. The stocks that I really want to talk about. GEV double downgrade this morning with the CYA downgrade where they downgrade it from buy to hold, but they raised their prices. One was Mizuho. I forget the other one. It might have been Citigroup. There's a couple of big, Oppenheimer maybe, a couple of big firms. And so it sold off in the morning. You got to expect profit taking here. As this thing was up and it's starting to look like a short stroke pattern, it was up more than 12% last week. Okay, so you come in off a week of 12%, up $70. So you expect it to, pull back a little bit. And it did this morning here. Had some profit takers early, and then buyers stepped in, and this thing closed higher. This thing really impressive move, I thought, today with the double downgrade and still went higher. What you want to look for, I mentioned the short stroke pattern. You don't want to see 648.52 was the high last week, and that no 651.22. So you don't really want to see it go above that if it's going to make a short stroke pattern. Just kind of quiet week, low volume, and then next week would be the week where the institutions come back and drive that thing higher. This to me is the top stock, the large liquid name in the number one group, but LEU is the top performer in this group. Definitely one to watch. Pull back to its 5 today, or maybe even the 10. Yeah, it might have been the 10. Yeah, if you'll indulge me here, we'll switch back to the 10 because this one did pull back. I mean, to the penny, I believe, to its 10 EMA. So the 10 today was 228.66 and it traded down to 227.50. Okay, so below the 10, just a tick below, and then rallied back up. So that's what you look for is you want to find support, right? Where's the stock finding support? And that could be the low for the week for that one. We'll have to wait and see. What did I say? 227.57. Definitely stock definitely making higher lows along the way. So that would not surprise me if that's the low and just trending higher. OKLO, same deal, made a low pullback here to its 5. I did switch that back to the 5, did I not? Yeah. 72.08 was the 5. The low is 72.28. That might be the low for the week. This thing's making a flag. I would say 73.55 would be a buy point. I mean, if you're interested in owning these things, I think you should be. The energy build out of the data centers, we don't have enough energy, period, in this country. There's insatiable demand. And this is Bloom Energy had a deal with Oracle last week on Thursday, followed through on Friday. Now another, move higher today. So we like our stocks going higher. If you're a trend trader, that thing looks pretty good to me. All right, that's it for the energy group. I just wanted to mention to be cautious. It's earnings season. We have a ton of earnings coming out. And I'm just going to point out, just observing here, Netflix reported a strong report, sold off. IBM reported a strong report and sold off. Yeah, there's no reason for that other than, we've got enough IBM. We're just going to, it's mechanical type of trade. I don't think there was any real disappointment with the data. It's just maybe they have too much of it. It made a run from 214 up to 296. So time to part ways a little bit. ASML, this thing sold off. This is a huge semiconductor equipment company that sold off. So that was kind of a disappointment. DOV sold off. Dover, I kind of like that one, but I'm not going to put it on the ready list. Honeywell sold off after a good report, below the 50 there. So just, Tesla sold off. They didn't have a good report, but it also has rallied back above the 50, and it's one that I'm watching. And ServiceNow, which I thought was going to really blast off, but just kind of muted. So earnings season is important, and just because you have a good report doesn't mean your stock's going to go higher. So anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up, except in honor of the great Steve Jobs. I have one more thing, and that is earnings season underway. We're right in the thick of it. We're going to get a lot of data points today, and you might own a stock like last week. I mentioned Flex reported, and it sold off, and it hammered the whole group, right? And we even saw Celestica sell off. And tonight, after hours, Celestica reported we have a different reaction here, up 10% after hours on just a blowout number. They raised earnings and they raise sales guidance 10% or more. So you'd figure the stock would be up 10%, right? And that's where it is. They have a conference call in the morning. I'll have more on that in the morning, but man, this thing is just a beast. It's a monster. Had this nice cup shaped pattern, had the 3 weeks tight, gave us a chance to get in, and that was it. It's adios, muchachos. Trending nicely along the 5. So let me see. Who else do we have here? Oh, Waste Management reported. They usually don't move much. Yeah, $2. CDNS. This is a semiconductor, like a design company, and it's up 6% after hours. This bodes well for the semiconductors, big time. So yeah, you might be looking at some semiconductor names on our ready list tomorrow. And a reason why some of your names are up after hours. Who else do we have here? Let me see. Oh, Nucor reported. Oh, wait a minute. Since I'm on semiconductors, Rambus reported, and it's up 5%. Very nice. Nucor, a steel stock, reported down 4%. EXEL, whoops, a biotech company down 13%. Ouch. Whirlpool reported, and this is a company that's kind of tied to the housing market because a lot of their products, they go in new homes. All the homes that are built around here, all their microwaves and dishwashers and I don't know, just a lot of the appliances are Whirlpool appliance, refrigerators, washers and dryers. And so they've got the contract for a lot of these home builders. So this is kind of a play on home builders. And they referred to tariffs. I don't really know exactly what they said. They're trying to play it off like tariffs aren't impacting them, but something's impacting them. And I'll have more on this in the morning. But their numbers were not good. And the housing slowdown. Housing's really relying on rate cuts here from Jerome Powell. Maybe not this week, but in September. And the stocks will move in advance of the rate cut. What else do we have? Oh, WWD, I believe that's a Druckenmiller stock. It's been on a roll down 3% after hours. I didn't see their numbers, but I did see that the stock was down. That's all we care about is the reaction, not the news. In the morning, we hear from United Healthcare. I would totally avoid this stock. Don't want anything to do with any litigation at all. There's way too much noise around that one. SoFi reports, this thing's been super strong, pulling back into the print. Kind of like that. PayPal, I don't really care for this stock, but it's setting up in a base, looks pretty good. Wouldn't be surprised to see it move higher on a decent number here. Boeing, yeah, this thing's surfing the 5. This is pretty much a government-sponsored aerospace and defense name. Whatever they do, they get supported, whatever. United Parcel, these guys are having their lunches eaten by FedEx. I would not touch this thing. Spotify reports in the morning, and they're getting the Netflix treatment here, and we're looking for with Spotify is just their subscriber growth numbers, and I think they're going to be pretty strong, but we have to wait. This is a Luxembourg-based company, so they report really early in the morning. So a lot to look forward to tomorrow morning. Merck reports. I'm waiting for them to buy a company here. They need to bust out the bazooka and buy some stuff. I know they bought Verona recently, but yeah, and Procter and Gamble reports in the morning, and this is kind of your staple type of play. They don't, It's a widows and orphans stock, whatever. They pay the dividend yield, nearly 3% to hold it, but it doesn't go anywhere for years and years and years. Looking at your monthly chart, it takes forever. It moves like a snail. It might double every, 10 years or something. Probably underperforming the S&P. All right, that's it for me. Once again, though, I mean, really, you got to pay attention to earnings. We've got Robinhood reporting this week. This thing's been a monster. I think they're going to report good numbers, but you never know how the stock's going to respond because it's moved up, what I say, like 240% since the Liberation Day. And we got Meta and Microsoft on Wednesday and, Starbucks. Just a lot of names that are reporting. Apple reports later in the week, along with Amazon. Man, Vert reports Wednesday morning. I'm interested in this data center stock. I think it's set up in a base here, trading kind of nice here, tight to the moving averages. I wouldn't be surprised if this one moves higher. I believe they're going to deliver a good number. And then Roblox has been a monster stock and pulled back into the print here. So just got to wait and see. And once we get, through all this data points, and you can invest and make, clearer decisions. There's clarity, kind of like CLS. If you wanted to buy this thing, you say, okay, now earnings are behind it, or, GEV earnings are behind it. Yeah, we had a nice run, but, at least you don't have to worry about earnings and you can kind of, wait for a pullback to a moving average to buy it. But this, those are leaders that you want to own. Anyway, at mcstockcharts.com, we never give up. Thank you for watching.